So guys, the topic that I'm gonna explain you today is mean of payment. Normally, what do you think when you're doing an export or an import from or to Colombia? How will be the payment from the merchandise? It could be a complex process. It depends. The mean of payment that the company is going to choose depends different aspects, especially in the trust. How much trust the company has to the other company. So, for any economic transactions that imply the chain of goods or services between buyers and sellers of different countries, needs to establish clearly what will be the mean of payment established for doing that operation, or establish what is the most convenient method of payments. So we have different mean of payments established around the world that are used for different companies, but as I said at the beginning, it depends different aspects that the company have to take into account before starting the negotiation. So we have, for example, or I'm going to explain you in this video, documentary credit, draft, checks, and foreign remittance. So the first of all that I want to share you is documentary credit. This is the more common and the most popular means of payments used around the world. This means of payment is characteristic because normally when two or more companies start negotiation, there is no trust between or among the companies. So, for example, the sporter go to a fair organized by ProColombia, let's suppose. In that fair, he knows a supplier or a possible client that is located in a different country, and they want to start negotiation. But never before the start of negotiation, they have met any time or they have done any negotiation. So, in this point, like is the big first sorry is the first operation that they're gonna do. There is no trust between the parties, so they need to establish a mechanism or a mean of payments absolutely uh, that they give absolutely trust for the parties for establish that the negotiation. So in a documentary credit there is an agreement where a bank, the issuer bank of the importer bank, by itself or ordered by a customer, that is the payer or the importer, and in accordance with their instructions, is obliged to make the payment to a third party. That third party will be called beneficiary or exporter, or authorizes to another bank, that is the exporter, the banks of the exporter, to do that operation. But that operation is done against the presentation of the required documents needed for doing the presentation within the specified time limit. So there is always normally a period of times, provided that the terms and the condition of the credit have been completed. Uh, Another definition of documentary credit is an agreement through the which a bank, the Asian bank, or the importer's bank, acting on request in accordance with the instruction of the client, that is the payer or the importer, of in his own name, have to make the payment to a third party that is called the beneficiary of the exporter, or to do its order, or accept and pay the bills in exchange, draft instruments, for example, that I'm going to explain you later, issued by the beneficiary. Second, authorizes to another bank to make the payment or to accept and to pay for such bill of exchange against the draft instruments. Or third, to authorizes to another bank to negotiate it against the delivery of the required documents, all the support documents that you already know, as long as the terms and conditions of the credit are done. What are the parties involved in this operation? The importer or the payer, the exporter or the beneficiary, and the issuing bank, and the receiving bank or issuing bank is synonym to bank of the importer, and receiving or advising bank is the bank of the exporter. So we have those four parties. Here we have in those slides 10 steps that the exporter and that the importer have to follow in order to do that operation. So I'm not gonna read it. I will give you a moment for you guys can read those all 5 steps. Another five. At the first sight, it could be confused because I know that there is a lot of information, but in this slide, I'm going to explain you all the 10 steps that we have here that could be represented in that slide. First of all, and the most important aspect is to have present what are the partners. So we have importer, exporter, issuing bank, or the bank of the importer, advising bank, or the bank of the exporter, the port of destination, and the port of origin. So, how does the documentary credit operate? First of all, the importer requests or asks to the bank, its bank, to open the documentary credit. This is a request. The issuing bank have to do all the risk study in order to give an amount of money that the importer have to use for buying some components or for importing some products. Once the documentary credit is opened, the issuing bank communicates to the advising bank that the documentary credit was open. In that moment, the advising bank or the exporter in the bank notify and decide time to the exporter. So the importer open, request to open, the issuing bank accept it, and notify to the advising bank that the documentary credit was open. And third, the advising bank notify to the exporter that the documentary credit was open. In this point, the exporter is absolutely and completely sure that there is a bank in the country of the importer's bank, that is going to support all the operation. After that, with absolutely trust, he can send the merchandise to the port of origin. Once the exporter has sent the merchandise to the port of origin, he also sent a copy of those documents to the bank. Which documents? Commercial invoice, shipping document, packing list, approvals, export declarations, all the support documents that you already know. After that, the advising bank sends to the issuing bank the support documents that supports the operations. In that moment, the issuing bank is absolutely um, he already know that all the operation is going on, so he can do all the payment for the value of the merchandise, the payment of the refund. Then the advising bank pays the quantity of money required to the exporter. So the exporter in the moment has sent the merchandise, and the exporter in that moment has received the payment for the merchandise. After that the issuing bank debt of the account that the importer has in the bank, the quantity of money, and send the documents. And with those support documents, the importer can go to the port of destination. He can take the merchandise and to do all the clearance of the merchandise process that he needs. This is basically how the documentary credit operates.